You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Feel like who art ed?
We'll try to slice it.
Who art ed? Mr. Wood art ed me.
Good. Either way, it's ambiguous. It works on so many levels.
I know.
That's off to a great start.
Welcome to Who Arted, weekly art history for all ages. I'm your host, Kyle Wood, and today I've got a TLDR mini episode on Nan Madol. Now, before I get started, if you're enjoying the podcast and want to enjoy it ad-free, as well as supporting me in the creation of all this content, check the links in the show notes. I started a Patreon where you can get ad-free episodes of all my podcasts. That's Who Arted, Art Smart, and Fun Facts Daily. Hundreds of episodes, all ad-free for just $3 a month. Now, on to the actual topic for the day, Nan Madol. Nan Madol is an archaeological site located next to the eastern shore of the island of Pohnpei in the Federated States of Micronesia. It was constructed between 1200 and 1600 CE. The site served as the ceremonial and political seat of the Saudeleur Dynasty. This dynasty united Pohnpei's estimated population of 25,000 people under a single ruling line. The city consists of about 100 artificial islets constructed in a shallow lagoon connected by a network of tidal canals, earning it the nickname Venice of the Pacific. The architectural style is sort of giant megalithic stone construction. Builders used massive columns of basalt rocks, which naturally form a hexagonal or octagonal shapes as volcanic lava cools. These basalt logs were stacked horizontally in log cabin style, alternating with layers of crushed coral for stability. This technique allowed builders to create towering walls, some reaching up to 25 feet high and 17 feet thick, without the use of mortar or cement. The Saudeleur ruler used Nan Madol to house the elite, physically separating nobility from commoners and keeping potential political rivals under close observation. The city housed an estimated 1,000 people, including chiefs, priests, and their servants. This dynasty eventually fell in the early 17th century, allegedly overthrown by the legendary warrior Saudeleur, who instituted a new system of decentralized chiefdoms. Following the dynasty's collapse, Nan Madol was gradually abandoned and reclaimed by the surrounding mangrove forests. Now, here are 5 quick things to know about Nan Madol. Number 1. Nan Madol is the only known ancient city built entirely on top of a coral reef. The construction of Nan Madol directly upon the coral flat in a shallow lagoon required extensive engineering and planning. Builders had to first establish solid foundations by sinking large, unshaped basalt boulders into the sand and coral bed. This provided a stable base capable of supporting the immense weight of the megalithic structures that would be built above the waterline. Once the foundations were set, the builders constructed retaining walls using the crisscrossing basalt log technique. Then they filled the interior spaces with coral rubble to create elevated artificial land masses. This unique marine setting meant the city had no fresh water or agricultural land of its own. All the food and fresh water had to be transported daily from the mainland of Pohnpei. Number 2. The total weight of the basalt used to build Nan Madol is estimated to be about 750,000 metric tons. It's hard to wrap your head around the volume of stone moved to construct the nearly 100 islets, and it's just kind of a testament to the organizational power of the Saudeleur Dynasty. Archaeologists estimate that the construction required moving an average of 2,000 tons of stone per year over several centuries. The basalt columns, some weighing up to 50 tons themselves, were quarried from locations on the opposite side of Pohnpei, particularly from a volcanic plug in the Saudeleur region. The transportation method for all these massive stones is still the subject of ongoing study. The most widely accepted theory among archaeologists is that the basalt columns were transported using heavy bamboo rafts. Workers likely would have rolled or leveraged the stones onto rafts and then navigated them along the coastline to the building site. Number 3. Nan Madol's layout shows a highly stratified society with distinct zones for specific activities. The city is divided by a central canal. There are 2 primary sectors. The southwestern half, known as Pohnpei, meaning the upper city, was the mortuary and religious center containing tombs, altars, and houses for the priests. The northeastern half, Pa, or the lower city, served as the administrative and residential sector for the ruling Saudeleur and the high nobility. Beyond this broad division, individual islets were purpose-built for specific functions. Certain islets were dedicated to food preparation, featuring remnants of large ovens, while others were reserved for building canoes, manufacturing coconut oil, or housing specific classes of servants. This intense spatial organization reinforced the social hierarchy and centralized control of the Saudeleur rulers over every aspect of daily life. Number 4. Magnetic anomalies have been recorded within the basalt structures of Nan Madol. Basalt is an igneous rock that contains iron-rich materials. When the rock originally cooled from the volcanic lava, these minerals aligned with the Earth's magnetic field at that specific time and location. At Nan Madol, because the basalt columns were quarried, moved, and stacked in varying orientations, the magnetic fields of individual stones point in different conflicting directions. This varying magnetic orientation causes a localized disruption, meaning a standard compass will behave erratically when moved closely along the walls of the ruins. While this is a naturally occurring geological phenomenon resulting from the construction method, it has contributed to various local legends and modern pseudoscientific theories regarding the site's supposed mystical properties. And finally, number 5. Local Pohnpeian oral history attributes the creation of Nan Madol to 2 twin sorcerers. According to traditional Pohnpeian legend, 2 brothers named Olisipa and Olosopa arrived on the island from a mythical western land called Katao. They sought a location to build an altar to worship the god of agriculture, Nanison Sap. After several failed attempts at different locations around Pohnpei due to the wind and the waves, they finally successfully built their altar at the site of Nan Madol. The legend says the brothers accomplished this construction task through the use of magic, levitating the massive basalt logs through the air with the aid of a flying dragon. When Olisipa died, Olosopa became the first Saudeleur ruler, thus establishing the dynasty that would rule Pohnpei and expand the city over the subsequent centuries. Now, I want to take a minute to look a little more closely at one of the most prominent structures in Nan Madol. Nandauwas was the royal mortuary islet. It was constructed around 1200 CE to serve as the final resting place for the Saudeleur rulers. It's the largest and most elaborate structure in the entire complex. The design of it consists of a series of concentric rectangular enclosures. The outermost wall is a massive structure, about 25 feet high and 300 feet long. The whole thing was designed to project power, prestige, and absolute religious authority. Builders constructed Nandauwas using the log cabin technique. They stacked naturally formed hexagonal and octagonal basalt columns, alternating their orientation to create a stable interlocking framework. The gaps between the massive stones were filled with coral rubble and smaller stones. At the center of the concentric walls, there's the burial vault. This central tomb has a deep crypt constructed with a solid floor of coral flat and surrounded by immense basalt slabs. The roof of the crypt was initially covered by enormous basalt logs, some of the largest found in the entire site. The size of these stones used in the central vault suggests it was reserved for the most important individuals in the dynasty, likely the Saudeleurs themselves. Archaeological excavations have shown significant insights into the burial practices and material culture of the Saudeleur elite. Researchers have uncovered shell ornaments, pearl shell lures, and pottery fragments within and around the crypt. These artifacts indicate a society with specialized craftsmen and a complex system of status markers, showing the importance of the individuals who were interred in that tomb. This concludes this week's episode of Who Arted, part of the Airwave Media Podcast Network. If you found this tolerable, please leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast app. You can find images of the work being discussed this week and every week on social media at Who Arted Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and of course on the website whoartedpodcast.com. Podcast done.